Hello and welcome to the McTaggart Attack Podcast. I'm Kevin McTaggart, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about my irrational fear of death, or what I think is my irrational fear of death. Also, I'm really glad that I finally figured out the word I was trying to say in the episode, or trying to think of throughout the episode, was irrational. I don't think I said irrational once when I recorded this, so maybe I did. I don't know. If I did, let me know by emailing me, McTaggartAttack@gmail.com. And before I let you listen to what I said in this podcast, I want to just put out there, if you could please consider contributing to my charity, the Get Kevin the Fuck Out of His Parents' House Fund. You can contribute by Venmoing me at McTaggart Attack. Every little bit helps. I guess the proceeds can also go to the betterment of this podcast, but mostly the Get Kevin the Fuck Out of His Parents' House Fund. So, let's go on to the episode, shall we? Let's go on to the rest of the episode, me ranting about my irrational fear of death. Am I the only one who seems to, go through life afraid that something bad's going to happen, regardless of whatever decision I make, like a fear of dying or something like that. I don't really know how to explain it, but I have some sort of fear of death, fear that death is going to happen, that I'm going to die, somehow, or that family members, I might never see them again, that they might die. If they go out, then if they don't come back, I worry that my folks won't come back when they go out, when they leave the house, I get scared of that. I get scared when, my sister is out driving somewhere, and I'm afraid something bad's going to happen to them. I'm just constantly afraid that, bad things are going to happen. And I've tried to have, a positive mindset in recent years, and I've done, meditation's helped me out a lot in the past year or so, but I still have these fears, these unnecessary, these totally inappropriate fears of things, these unsubstantiated, did I say that right? I don't know, fears of things. And one of those fears of things that I have is death. I have a fear of death. And it sucks. I hate having a fear of death. I hate having a fear of, if I do this, am I going to die? Not necessarily that, but just am I going to die before I, accomplish what I want to accomplish in life, which isn't much so far. You know what I mean? One thing that sort of helped me recently figure out that I have, a fear of death, because I heard somebody talk about it in a YouTube video. I was watching one of Ella Ringrose's YouTube videos. She had a spiritual awakening earlier this year, and a lot of her videos are about manifestation and meditating and things like that. And one thing she was talking about in regards to her spiritual awakening was not having a fear of death, is what it was. I forget which video it was. I was trying to find the video, but I couldn't find which one it was. I was watching a bunch of her videos. I've watched a bunch of her videos before. I think I've even done a podcast episode on one of the topics that she covered in her videos a few months ago. I did the podcast episode a few months ago. I forget which one it is now, but now I'm doing a second one. But go find Ella Ringrose on YouTube if you're into the manifestation stuff. I like how she explains it. And I like how raw her YouTube videos are and stuff. It's just her talking. She doesn't do like any flashy entrance music and stuff like that. And turns out she has a podcast where she does pretty much the same sort of thing, which is great. I like podcasts that don't have any music in them, right? Don't you like podcasts that don't have any music in them, right? I mean, granted, it's because I'm not really sure how to add the music to the podcast. But I'm not sure I want to learn how to add music to my podcast. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just talking into my laptop screen to try to make sense of the world and try to conquer my fears of things. And one of those fears that I'm trying to conquer is my fear of death. And I think a good way to conquer your fear is to talk about it. Because this is something that I've been afraid of for a long time. For my whole life, I've been afraid of dying. Or afraid of people close to me dying unexpectedly. Well, everybody dies unexpectedly. No one dies expectedly. I mean, I guess there are times when you pull the plug and then, that person's going to die soon. But no one celebrates the fact, oh, hey, you're dying, yay, woohoo. No, it's always a somber thing, and it's as it should be. Because it's the end of a life. But, like, Ella talks about, spiritual awakening and how we're all part of the universe, and dying is just a part of life. Like, so your body dies, you're still part of the universe in some way. But I don't know that because I've never died. I mean, I will someday. We're all gonna die someday. Our bodies as we are right now, we're gonna fucking die some way. I probably sound like a goddamn wacko, but hearing her talk about it this weekend made me feel so much better. It made me realize that I do have, like, an unequivocal fear of death. And I just needed to talk about it in my podcast to get it the fuck off my chest. It's just a frustrating thing to have to deal with, is a fear of death. And it's just, how am I going to conquer it? I just accept it. How do you conquer any fear? You just have to, like, talk about it and accept it. And I'm like, death is going to happen at some point. And I don't have to, like, be upset about it. I'll be upset about it. It's going to be a thing that happens. It's going to be bad. It's going to be sad. People will hopefully cry a lot when I die, but hopefully it's not anytime soon. I like to think I'm keeping pretty healthy with things, so I really don't expect that to happen. But I'm just saying, I go through life. I do anything, and I'm afraid I'm going to get killed. I'm going to die. Like, when I go walk in nature trails, I'm afraid I'm going to get killed by a bear. Or some sort of animal. It's irrational things like that. Walking on nature trails that a bunch of other people walk on. So the animals are too damn scared to even be around there, for that matter. Unless it's a rabid animal. But, like, who wants to die by getting eaten alive by an animal? Not me, not anyone. That would be an awful, maybe after they're dead. They won't want it. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Do animals like to eat live meat or dead meat, or it doesn't really matter? It's all meat to them, I guess. This is a weird discussion to have in a podcast, but, like, that's just an irrational fear I have, is getting attacked by a bear. Getting killed by a bear. Or some sort of other animal. I'm thinking bear, because that's, like, the most vicious kind of animal that I can think of meeting in the damn forest is a bear. Or like a pack of wolves, like that Liam Neeson movie. Or dying in a car crash. Or dying in a plane crash. I think of dying all the time. Do you think of dying all the time? It's not a suicidal thing that I have. It's just this sort of like, oh my god, if I do this, I might die. Well, you know what? If you do a lot of things, you might die. But dying is a part of life. You can't find the cure of death. You're not going to find the cure of death. Trust me, they tried to find it in that Prometheus movie, and that ended up awful for everyone. So there's no cure to death. Death is just a thing that's going to happen someday. So just live your life and as well as possible. And be as happy as possible. Not necessarily really happy, because nobody should be really happy all the time. Anyone who's really happy all the time has fucking problems. And it's just live your life without thinking, oh, I'm going to die. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to try doing, is live my life. Not live my life anymore thinking, oh, am I going to die today? Because I'm tired of having this ridiculous fear of death. I hope by talking about this doesn't mean that my death happens soon. That's why I was afraid to do this episode, because I'm like, well, if I talk about it, what if it happens? I mean, if it happens, it happens, because it's going to happen at some point. It's just a part of life. It's just a thing that happens. So this has been a rather morbid episode, but you know what? I had to get this off my chest before I died. I guess that's an awful way to end an episode. Hey, thank you so much for watching and or listening to the podcast today. I really appreciate it. If you watched it on YouTube, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and like the video. And if you listen to it on an audio podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to the podcast. And that's the bottom line. If you smell what the McTaggart Attack Podcast is cooking.